Well, hey friends, welcome to another episode of HERstory Beyond The Sale. I am today with my friend Heather Wisenbaker, and I'm super excited to have her as a guest today. This is her first podcast, so we are going to have an amazing time chatting. I'm super excited for her to get her story out there. I think it's so important for you guys to hear this. And B, we both just did an amazing project together, so we could talk about that at the very end. But first, I want to welcome this amazing woman. I mean, her bio is just amazing. She's done so many things in her life, and I'm excited for her to share a little bit more about that. So welcome, Heather. So excited to have you.
Hi, thanks for asking me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad to get to know you through the project that we just did, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But first things first, where are you from, and what are some of the things that you did before network marketing?
Yeah, so I'm an original Floridian, born and raised. Joined the military when I was younger, and I found my husband and love of my life, and we now live in Texas, where he is from. So I'm in southeast Texas, near Lake Livingston.
Okay, that's awesome. What's the difference between Texas and Florida? Is it totally big difference, or?
I miss the beaches
Yes.
and the chill type of lifestyle. It's a little bit more relaxing there. But nothing around East Texas and Florida is about the same. I still have my Spanish moss in my trees. We still have that humidity. So yeah.
That's awesome. So now that it just dawned on me, my girlfriend lives near Crystal Beach. We drove an hour to get to her beach, and it was the first time she's in Texas. It was the first time I'd ever been to a Texas beach, and I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. The coast is so pretty. So you have kids, you have pets. Like, what do you do? What do you do for your day at home?
Yeah, so I'm a retired military. I was in the Air Force for almost 18 years. I was a cop in the Air Force. Did tons of different jobs there, but I really honed in on my leadership skills. And when I retired, I moved over as a civilian. I had my son late in life. He was actually a surprise to me. I was turning 39 when I had him. Wow. And I had been told I couldn't have kids. So he's like my little blessing.
Yes.
He's now a big blessing because he's 5'5" and 100 and something pounds. He's huge.
Oh my goodness.
But I still worked for the government for a couple of years, and I was paying child support, gas going back and forth, outfits to wear to work, lunches. Like, it was just like pretty much I was paying my child care and only having a couple $100 extra to put into the house income. So it got to where it was like, I'm done. I want to raise my son. I want to be home. So it's crazy because I jumped into network marketing because it was not even that. It was all products. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a good deal. I was one of those they call the kidnapper. So I was like, I'm just getting the kit. I'm not doing this. Don't even talk to me about how to do it. And I ended up being really good at it.
Yeah. So I love this. I love that, how you just said that, because lots of people, and every company has a different comp plan and a way that they pay people. And some is, if you join them, you get really great discounts, and some, you pay the same as customers. So you found something. Have you been in network marketing more than one company, or one the whole time?
More than one.
Okay. So when you first found it, it was not that you were really looking for it, but it kind of found you through product.
Right. I used to be a great hostess. Man, I could host it and have like the top parties. I'm just one of those social butterflies. Like, I like to be with people and I like to have fun.
Yeah.
So my cousin I guess she started, and she's just, my sister joined. Both my sisters joined, and they were like, you need to join us. And I'm like, well, I just want the kit, $100, whatever. I have a great, kit. I'll use it. But don't talk to me about anything. I had no idea about the comp plan, really no idea about the backbones to it all. And I just self-published my children's book. So it wasn't that my focus. And my son was only maybe 9 months old. Like, he was not even a year yet. So that wasn't my focus at all. And I just started sharing the product because I loved it so much. And I had fun doing it. I had fun with the creation part of it, being able to create my brand, and get out of my comfort zone and do something new. Again, it wasn't in the box like the military puts us in. You can't go outside of those in color, and I loved that freedom of the creativity. And honestly, what's really sad, I look back now, and it's like, I worked with not a lot of women because I was in a male dominant field, but the women that I worked with, we really weren't real close. And I mean, I have a couple of girlfriends that I, served with, but in the majority of it, it was kind of like we not pinned each other against each other, but we just didn't get close. And when I saw the sisterhood and the support, that really is what was just very inspiring to me, that there was this need to show women that they have that strength and bravery that's all inside of them. And and I know I just said that wrong, but
no, I'm really listening. This is amazing. It's true.
And that's what really inspired me to like, what? I want to share this with other women. I saw that it was helping me offset the cost from me leaving my full-time job. And it's crazy because how my story is I got out of being a civilian after 2 years of serving as a civilian in the government. And within 3 months of that, I noticed that my son was having, we thought at first it was his hearing. And so we had taken him to get seen, and they were like, we need to get him tested for autism. I've never been really, I heard of autism, but I never really had been physically or personally involved with it. And so within 6 months of leaving my job, he was diagnosed as autistic. And this kiddo, he has got some strength, man. I'm telling you. He 3.5 years old. He was doing ABA therapy 5 days a week. And we're talking like 2 to 4 hours of therapy. Then he would go to occupation and speech. And then when he started preschool and kindergarten, he was literally waking up at 6:15 in the morning and not finishing until about 5:36 at night. And it was just straight. I mean,
go.
Yeah. And I told my husband, I was like, God knew. I'm a Christian woman, and I believe that God puts things in front of us, and he just kind of knew. And I had to sit back and listen. And I went from my one job, my one business that I was with, and I loved it. And me and my husband prayed. He's like, this just isn't making you in. He's like, you're spending so much time doing this. It's just not an income producing, And I was like, you're right, but I really love this, and I'm not going to give this platform up because I just really love this platform. And we prayed, and my other company that I'm with now came in, and I tell people, you've got to be still. When you pray, you really need to be still and quiet. And you might not like the answer that God's putting in front of you, but he has a purpose. There's a purpose of that. And I'm telling you, I am so blessed that this type of career path came across me, because it has allowed me to focus on my family and build a business like I want to. And I usually am a full-timer, but he's turning 11 this month. And so I've had to kind of pull back because we've had to pull him out of public school this year. We've had some disruptions with his behavior, and we've seen a decline in things. So we had to pull him out, and we've had to say, what's going on? And it takes a lot. I'm basically a homeschooling mom again. And I was a homeschooler for about 2.5 years, 3 years with COVID coming in, and I put him back in school, and we moved and started homeschooling him again. So that is one of the things I tell women. If you're needy, first off, I think we all need a second stream of income, because you just never, ever know. You never, ever know. And if you're not building, and when you retire, like you and I were talking about, I'm retired, and I can't I'm saying that my paycheck isn't something I can live off of. So I need something. But it's all ages. Like you and I were talking about. This is something from, I think that as soon as a person turns 18, you've got those daughters, or even the younger boys. Why not put them in something that they can start building and having, and this extra stream that's theirs, and it's not going to go anywhere. And it's like something that they can totally dive into along with what they're doing in another career. It's okay. And I feel like it's like that safety net, right? Like we talk about, you have to have portfolios for all your business and your finances, but you just never know. I have a friend that lost her husband, and thank goodness she was in this type of career and had
Absolutely.
the business this way. So,
And I'll tell you that as you're saying that, a couple of things I want to touch back on before we go any further. One was you said, well, first let me talk to this. You wrote a book.
yes.
What was your first book?
My first book was my children's book. It's called The Sweet Tooth Goblin, and you can kind of see a picture. It's about Lila the Tooth Fairy, and I hand make tooth goblin pillows where the tooth goes and keeps as a tooth fairy. Yeah.
So you've always been entrepreneurial, which is kind of cool, even though you've been in the military and that was your first career. What I love what you said, because I think that this is so true and something that needs to be talked about, is you were working with women, but you weren't building that community and that girly feel of what you were looking for. And when you looked into what your cousin, I think it was your cousin that shared the product with you, you were like, wow, I really like this community that you have, these people, right? So for me, same. My girlfriends that are in network marketing, we're all like-minded. We're always on that same path of just wanting more and wanting better. And they always say the 5 people you surround yourself with are the people that you're kind of like, you know? So I totally agree with that. I think that a lot of women are like you and I. I mean, we're getting into our 50s. I am anyway. I don't know about you, but I did the math a little bit when you told me how old you were.
I turned 50 this month.
Already, or when is it?
This month, May 30th.
Okay, happy birthday! Happy birthday! I just had one in April, so we are going to be 50 sisters. But yeah, I think as you get older in life, like for me, what I'm noticing now is meeting friends now, they become like forever friends. It's just amazing to get to know somebody in their life after 50 or in the, you know what I mean? I love that feeling. And we were talking about somebody that's retired and that's home by herself and is 65 without the community. And now she's like, wow, I didn't know I could be part of something like this. No skills. You know, we can all teach you how to copy paste and do all the things, right? It's just having that burning desire to do something more. And we want you to know that that is available here for you in network marketing. So I love that.
And there's so many things. There's like so many things. And I always tell them, like, if you don't like it, then move to something that you do. You will find your passion. But like my chapter in our project that we're part of together, it's basically doing it messy, do it scared, just do it. And I tell women, one of my mottos is to my when I'm coaching women is do it scared, get out of your way. We are our biggest speed bump. And I'm like, just do it. Find little ways to get past that fear, because and a lot of people that I coach, it's going live. And I'm like, you know, just act like you're talking to me. Get in front, and as if you mess up, that's what women and regular people love to see, is that that vulnerability. That she messes up just like me. I mean, when I started, he was 3, and I have him in diapers, and he's hugging me and kissing all over my leg, and I'm just like, I love you too, baby. But people fell in love with that, and I think that they trust you more because you've 100%. Allowed them in to your life. And like you said, I have closer friends, like I shouldn't say closer because I have close friends from my military career too, but the women that I have met in this path, not only in my business, but like you and I there's just a connection that you meet, and my connection with my clients is I probably have never talked to these people even face to face on a video, but I will tell you, talking to them in text or whatever, I'm very close to my clients. Like, these women are very important to me. And without them, I would tell you, during COVID, where all of us were stranded, this is what got me through it, was my sister.
100%.
Was, hey, get up, go put some makeup on. We're going to go do a reel together. You need to give us a video. And it was like, that literally happened. It was like 11 of us. Yeah. And it got me out of that funk. Like, and there's times as a mother, knowing these women and my clients that know that my son's autistic, and how they reach out to me when I'm having a bad day, or they're like, we get you, Heather, we understand it. When I'm in that, I have these people that I can turn to and get that help, or get that just pat on the back that you just kind of need. You know, we all need that. And
we do.
I don't think without this, I don't think I would have that. I would be sitting at home with my husband and my son, and I don't know. I can't imagine my life without this. It's so much fun. There are struggles with it, like everything else. There's things that come that I'm like, oh, really? You know, but I tell women, look, like I go back to my military, we have a fields card where you have to pinpoint where you're going to aim fire. And you have to learn to pivot and adjust that fire down with where's your goal at and where you want. Okay, so this came up, our product ran out, right? Pivot and concentrate on something else. Don't get, and I think in that an entire life, when you look at your life, that's a good way to think about it. And check your expectations.
Yeah.
What are you 100%. Expecting out of this? Like you may need to come down a couple of notches from your expectation level. So you're not always, maybe you're holding your expectations a little too high to in reality, So yeah.
I love that word pivot. I think that that's so important. If something's not working, pivot. If something's out, pivot. I mean, there's always good to be found in every situation. And if you're not manifesting that good and really being able to go with the flow, because everything in life is up and down. It's a roller coaster, right? You could be on a marriage that's going super high and then bam, it's going to crash and burn, right?
And you never know. There's a purpose. I used to tell people we're God's snow globes. And as soon as you think you've got it all figured out, he goes over to his shelf, picks you up and shakes it all about. And he's laughing and kind of giggling and watching you like, okay, well, you thought you had it. Right. I have a couple more lessons to teach you, Missy.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I just went to a Tony Robbins event. It was amazing, UPW. And we talked about problems, right? Problems are not, they're there. We all should have them. They're challenges to help us learn and pivot and grow, right? Yes. If we always look at them as a problem that we can't get through, then there's a problem, right? But if we look at it as that's a challenge that's going to teach me something more, right? Even literally this week, I was teaching somebody how to copy paste, how to get on Zoom. And now when I see her face on Zoom, she's got the biggest, brightest smile because she can hear me. She can see me. She knows how to put her camera on. I mean, she can't, and to somebody else, oh, well, it's just a Zoom. But to her, technology was her thing. And when you kind of overcome, it's just those little things. So I totally love that you're talking about the word pivot. I almost want to get that word tattooed on my arm. Pivot. I love it. It's so true. So when you came from the military and you came over to network marketing back then, did you have a fear of maybe what your friends or family are going to think, like, what the heck is wrong with Heather? Why is she going from the military with such a strong career to one of those things? You know how they like to call it that.
So I don't know where I got this instilled. I'm guessing my parents, but I've always been in a leader position in volleyball in college and that. So I've always been kind of one of those rough kind of girls that I don't take no for an answer. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, when I came in, I never really gave it any thought. I just kind of like, all right, this is when Facebook was just coming on. And this is when we weren't even doing lives yet. Like you had to record and then post it. And it was just crazy mess. It wasn't as easy to reach people as it is now. Right. But I think it was just, I didn't have a fear of what other people thought. And I don't think, and I think if that's where women are struggling, if that's where that speed bump is, sit back and really analyze that internally. Like, who cares? I think it hits with age too, right? I don't care.
Yeah.
These people aren't paying me, and these people aren't going to take my joy. And I found joy with it. So I wasn't going to give them that. I have people that hate on me all the time? And I kind of just laugh. And what gets me through it is I'm like, thanks for the algorithm boost. Because I have all my friends attacking them, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of laugh at that. Like, I like to try, even if the walls are crumbling down around me, I try to find the humor because there's always a piece of humor around everything, even in death, even in breakups. There's a piece, if you sit back and just look at it, it could be just your reaction that you have to kind of laugh at, right? And just, you go on, you pivot. And you move past it and you walk up that hill and and it may take you months, a year to go up that.
That's
right. When you conquer it, it's the most freedom. It's the most amazing feel. It could be just logging onto a Zoom. And if you're that light and somebody else, like you said, I bet you felt amazing that whole week when you knew that you taught somebody else to do something that they had that joy.
Oh,
that internal joy that they were like, look what I did.
Absolutely. She's
and it's such a blessing. Like that's where I think, and even in products, right? So when you get into to network marketing and you find a product that really speaks to your heart, I think that is what pushes you is with your clients. Like I could never leave this because I wouldn't want anyone else taking care of my clients.
Yeah.
I love getting that message from my client that day.
Same.
I could be having the worst day and
Yes.
God knew I needed something. And I'll have a client that's like, oh my gosh, girl.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to get more.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
I hear
and I'm
you.
like,
Yeah.
you got it. Let's go. Why, you know what? What's keeping you from joining
Yeah.
me? Let's have some fun
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just one more nail in that belief bucket, right? So every
Yes.
time you have one more testimonial or one more person that's happy, it doesn't matter what the others think, right? And I've said that all along. Like for me, I go live every morning in my pajamas without makeup on. My hair's got bedhead on my business page, and we just have fun together. We dance, we do gratitude, we talk. And these women could care what. I didn't go live this morning because I've got jet lag and my eyeballs are swollen out of my head. But you bet your butt that I had 7 messages or more. Where were you? Where were you? Are you okay? Like they care about us. They love us. They want us to be, they want us to run beside them. Right. And so those are the people that I care about now. It's not the people in the beginning that were like, well, what are you doing that for? You're going to be every time I see you, the product lady. And I'm like, no.
And you know what's funny is my mother was probably my hardest critic.
Yeah.
Out of all the people, my mom. Oh, this isn't gonna last.
Yeah.
This will go and leave. And what's funny is my husband, my first year, he was like, really? Do you know what she earned this year? Do you think this is just here and there?
Oh, right.
And she still, I think for the first few years, I mean, I've been in network marketing over 10 years now. And I've been with my company now over 6. And I think it took her about my 3rd or 4th year in this company to realize like, okay,
it's a business.
Maybe this is serious. So, I mean, you know, I did have people, but again, I didn't let that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a challenge to me. And I think if you go into life like wanting to just beat those challenges and conquer those challenges, and even if you do fail, who cares? You get up and you go do it again. Like you said, every failure that you have, there's a reason, and that was to learn a lesson from it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very true. I have a long story behind that, and someday you and I could talk about it. But so the fear piece is awesome. What do you do for now in the military? Did they teach you personal development? Did you learn to be a better you? Like, what? I don't know a lot about that. So, when did you get into personal development of just becoming a stronger Heather? Like, I know you said you grew up that way, kind of like that tough girl. Like, I'm gonna win. I'm always winning. But what do you do now for personal development? How do you grow, or how do you tell that woman out there that's got zero confidence in herself?
So the military taught me leadership as a community, right? And it really didn't focus. We had a couple of things like to look internally, but nothing like direct sales or network marketing, nothing like that. I think entrepreneurs in a whole, not just MLMs, but entrepreneurs as a whole. Right. I think that is one, and I know that is one of the things that I love about this career path is that it allows us to focus. We have to focus internally because we are the business.
Right.
We are our success.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that I really love about this career is that it does allow me to be better. Yeah. It allows me to go out and say, okay, what is it that I like? What is it that I want to be? And who's going to help me do that through coaching or podcast or whatever it is. But right now I'm reading, I don't know if you've ever heard of.
Oh my gosh, I have a book club. I just met her in person last year, Jamie Kern-Lima.
Yeah, so we're doing this book club with a couple of ladies that I'm doing it. And I love Kristen Boss. She's another one that I follow. Ray Higdon is somebody that I have followed for years. Like he really taught me his ways and techniques and just his no crap attitude. Like he really, he gives you that kind of spanking you need a little bit, like girl.
Yeah,
so
he's
I
an
really love Ray
amazing
Higdon.
human. He's just a great person. He
Yes.
came on a live video with me and spoke for 40 minutes on my Facebook 2 years ago. I messaged him and he's like, "Sure, girl." Like you are a fabulous human, Ray Higdon, if you're listening to this.
He is so amazing. And he, at the beginning of this, I followed him in my old company and then didn't really cling into it.
Mm-hmm.
until I had a couple of girls, and we're like, we call each other stylist sisters. And we just kind of run together. And his
Yeah,
challenges were what connected us, was because we were all
that's
like, let's do
awesome.
this challenge. And we all like,
That's,
that's how we got to know each other really well.
yeah.
So, and there's another person too that I really love, and I can't think of his name. I know you know who I'm talking about. Anywho, I follow him as well too. But
Awesome.
I'm not a big reader, even though I'm in a book club. This is my
Yeah.
first book club that I'm like, my goal is to do this.
Yeah. I feel like we're soul sisters. I literally started the book club so that I had to be live every week and read it because I've never read a book cover to cover. I'm like, I'm reading this book and I'm going to do it with other people. It's so funny that you said that. Yeah, same.
Because I do. I start at the beach, I get to the preface, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm an author. Like I have, so not only do I
Yes.
have my children's book, I also have I've been a contributing author to a women's veterans book that
Okay.
really dove deep into trauma.
Yeah.
And that was a few years ago. We released that. We were international bestseller with that book. And then our project, which I'm
Yes.
so proud of,
Yeah. I think this is going to be a bestseller right off the bat.
it I was like, God knew I needed this because it
Yeah.
is exactly the message that I really, really stand on to
Yeah.
share with women and any entrepreneur. I don't want to just say women because there's a lot of men in the industry too.
Yeah.
But it's just, I feel like we're our biggest critic. And if we
Yes.
just get out of our head,
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
so many amazing
Yeah.
things and find the fun in it. And the days that you're burnt out, go take a day off. That's the great joy about being your own boss.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, I'm able,
What's
like I was saying earlier, I do this full time usually, but I was able to pull back and say, okay, this is now my part
yes.
time because my son is my top priority.
Right.
And when I'm homeschooling, I'm spent at the end of the day. I can't even answer people because I'm just
Exactly.
seven
Exactly.
chapters of seven, subjects, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
it's
not.
stuff we don't know anymore. Like that he's 11. So that stuff is like stuff we don't even know anymore. Like,
Girl, Google.
oh, good. They teach it different. My kids are 27 and 20. Actually, my daughter just got off the plane from her sophomore year in college, and she also has had concussions and some head injuries, stuff like that. But she got all A's this year, and I'm just so proud of her. She's just jumping up and down in my office telling me, Mom, look, I got my last grade. It's an A. And I'm like, good for you. I
Yay,
couldn't imagine
congratulations to her.
homeschooling, though. Thank you so much. Homeschooling an 11-year-old. I think that would be mind blowing, like crazy stuff.
It's hard, and he doesn't like mommy to be
Yeah.
a teacher
Yeah.
because he can't work his magic away from me making him do his work. So he
That's
he
yeah.
doesn't have those escape mechanisms set.
Right. You get the one up there.
But he goes
So
into sixth grade, and we do our appointment yesterday, and we're going to be putting him back in public school. He's super excited, so
good.
we'll see. We'll see.
Good.
That's my number one priority is raising
Yeah.
a decent human being that can go out in the
Yeah.
world and make it better. And that's the beauty of having this. And I tell women, people are like, oh, I just don't have the time, or I'll wait till I get to this. I'm like, why are you waiting? Why?
It's always waiting on the move, waiting on the fat loss, waiting on the breakup. You know what? Those things are going to always, something's always going to be there, right? There's never a great time for anything. Like people get pregnant all the time and they're like, oh my gosh, miracle, but it wasn't ready, but it works out. Everything works out. So that's amazing. So you can plug a little bit more in the book. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that project, but I wanted to touch on one more thing. You talked about network marketing is great money. We talk about that. I have many friends that are multimillionaires because of this industry, and some friends that just want to earn an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, which is amazing, right? So it's not all about the income, but it is about having that plan B alongside your plan A, because we don't know what life is going to throw at us. You talked about that. You had a baby and all these things. Now you're able to be home with him and homeschool him. And I think that that's so important because, I mean, think about having a sick parent at our age. I mean, my mom's 75, my dad's already passed, but God, wouldn't it be awesome to be able to be beside them as they were ill and not have to worry about calling in sick to a boss? Or what if something happened with your child? Like just having that freedom of that income and that place, like you said, it's not all about that because you're finding so much joy in the community and with their relationships and with helping clients. But talk a little bit more about why it's so important to have that plan B.
So I even talk to women that have retired. So I talk to those women. It's like, well, what are you doing right now? Come in and
Yeah.
let's have some fun. So I love that it's your business how you want. I right now don't want to be a top earner. When I first joined, it was like, all right, I want to kill it. And that was before my son went into really school age, right? So I was
Yeah.
able to be home and do more stuff. But as he got older and I needed to be a little, my roles kind of changed a little bit. So I was able to pull back. So my goal right now isn't to be this crazy top earner. I'm at that middle level. I love being in there. I don't have any interest right now. And I love that I don't have to have that pressure of that this is me, this is what I want. And I show up to work what I want to earn.
Exactly.
But as a second person, I have women right now that are retiring in like 5 years. And I'm like, girl, this is the best time to set this in place. Because it takes a couple of years for you to build your brand and your follower and your client list. And by the time you get out, you won't have to work it as hard to build that base, right? Because it's all about building that base and that, to get to that level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it is so important, especially with nowadays, with prices of groceries skyrocketing and gasoline going out. Like if I didn't have this extra income coming into our house, I would not be able to throw my son a birthday party like I want to throw him, right? And we don't do nothing crazy, but I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this for all the kids in his class. And we wouldn't be able to go to the beach for our birthday. We would be like, all right, well, we're going to have a campfire out in the yard, and that's what we're doing this year.
Yeah.
So it's having that little bit of extra income and bringing that little bit of extra income to be putting in his savings account. Like I just have that buffer where I see my friends that don't have that buffer and they can't go and grab that shirt that they're, like we go shopping. They got to put it back down. And I'm like, girl.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, gosh, thank goodness. Being credit card debt free. Praise Jesus. Like, oh my gosh. And that was my big goal when I started this. When I saw that I could be making money in this, I was like, my goal is to never have a credit card debt again.
Yeah. Yeah. The stress of that is, the stress is huge on women that have to use their credit card for everything, or even just run it by their husband. Can I spend $25 on my nails today? Or,
Me and my husband just had this conversation yesterday because what he does with his money is what he does, but we get everything together, pay it, but we don't, and he can't. Like he can't say what I'm doing with mine because this is the money that I've earned. And so I was able to invest in myself and go to a women's retreat that I wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah. And it was like, look, I worked hard and I saved this money. Like I want to spend that on this. Like I need this. Exactly. And it's just so nice to be able to not live, like you said, credit card, because before network marketing, even when I had my retirement and working for the government, I was still using my credit card at the end of the month to buy diapers and milk and put gas in the tank because my paycheck didn't hit for another 5 days.
Yeah.
So I used to live like that.
Yeah. So you know that feeling, and I did too. I mean, my heart just goes to the veterans. There's so many in my area in Boston, so many homeless veterans right now, and it should not be this way. It's heartbreaking to me. So yes, well, I love everything you said, and I want to just ask you one more thing. What would you say to that woman that's just home right now that really has that burning desire for something? How would you tell her to get started? Would you tell her to, what would you tell her?
I would say, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
What is it that you want? Write that down. Write what you want. And it can be everything. Write it all down. And then I want you to write in another column, what is it that you're afraid of? Right. And let's talk. Let's connect. Yes. So I can show you you're not by yourself with those fears. Everybody, I know handfuls and groups of women that have those same fears. She's not alone. Yeah. But there are things that we can do together that we can help you bust through those speed bumps, through that and move forward. Because the more I feel that you go outside of your comfort zone, the more growth you're going to have, the more character you're building for yourself, the more belief that you will have within you. Yeah. And you will find joy, and you're going to find this sense of like, man, independence. I could I had this inside me all along.
Yeah.
And you're going to have, I really believe when we do these things, it empowers us to want to empower others that you see that have been in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing stronger than that one-on-one connection when you can tell another sister, girl, I know exactly what you're saying. I was there. Like, let me show you my first love.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'm like, girl, let me show you my first things.
Yeah, right?
It wasn't always pretty, and it still isn't always pretty. I still have interruptions.
Yes, and that's okay. Like you said, people love that. People love that. So one last plug before we got to get going about our project. Go ahead and give that a good plug, and then I'd love to have you back again. So
yes, I'd love to be back. So I was it just fell in my lap. I knew that I wanted to do this. I was asked, hey, we're looking for amazing ladies in this stream, you know, in the MLM side of the house that we're looking at, and we're just finding some really empowering women. And I had to kind of interview for it, and they accepted me, and we are now contributing authors together in our amazing book called Leading Ladies by Networker. And it's going to be outrageously amazing. It's got 22 contributing authors. We're all women. And it's like I was telling our group, it's almost not even just for network marketers. I really feel every woman in any walk of life is going to bring value reading this. And the great thing that I love about our chapters is you hear each author's story. Again, my story is about overcoming your get out of your way, do it messy.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I love too, it'll be a really great book reading club book, is because you have little video clips of us personally going into doing art, like kind of like a lesson. So you don't only get the words to read in an intake, you also get us to powerhouse that and drive it home with you and just stand beside you. I really feel like you guys are gonna, I know you are going to love it. It was such a fun book to be a part of. This is the most exciting, other than my children's book. This has been one of my most exciting adventures, and I cannot wait to get it in my hands. So get out there, support us, and get your copy, ladies and gentlemen.
I think they're ready to go, right? I think they're ready to go. My mom told me today, I got an email from you about your book. I think I can buy it.
I don't know. I'm unemployed. I've been dealing with my son.
Yeah, so let's check that out. I'm not sure if they can get it yet, but she did get another email, so I don't know what's happening. But anyways, I'm super blessed to be part of that book with you and the other 20 women. I mean, it's going to be amazing. My chapter was about motherhood and just that you can have it all, right? Career, legacy, and being a mom. So anyway, so I'm super excited to read yours. And it was great having you here, Heather, today.
Thank you so much, Lori, for having me.
Yes. And we'll have you back again for sure.
Yes, I can't wait.
So much. And give Heather a hand. Thank you. I'm going to grab that book for my grandson. I have a 1-year-old grandson who just got his teeth, but I'm assuming he'll be losing one in the next couple of years. So I need to get a book. So
about age 5.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
and we'll
you
talk
so
to you
much,
guys.
love.
Thank you for being here, friends. And we'll see you back here next Friday with another episode of Her Story Beyond the Sale. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.